Hey World Division fans, this is your global original Nashtaters, bringing you back another episode of World Division. Today is Happy Wednesday, and it is going to be Happy Wednesday indeed because I will be summoning for the Omega Vision card. And then I'm going to be subsequently reviewing it. Now I'm going to do a little change up on Wednesdays from now. I'm not really going to go over too much about what's going on unless something is very drastic that's going to affect the gameplay. So for the future purposes, I'll most likely do some summons on Wednesday or just review something that's coming out on Wednesdays. So let's go ahead and jump into the summon session. Alright, here we go. Feature vision card summons is going to be Omega and Flash of Insight. Now I mentioned that Flash of Insight is essentially the final nail. I know, well, maybe that's a bad analogy. More like the final armor piece for Mr. Rob himself. It is a very, very good vision card. I think that's going to put Rob essentially in the topic of conversation in terms of PvP, perhaps even PvE, where he's going to be truly shining at level 120. And I think Omega is going to be one of the better vision cards in the entire game in terms of slashing units. I think if you enjoy slashing type attackers, this might be the card for you. Let's go ahead and take a look here. The stats. And of course we're going to review everything here. It says dark unit slash attack up at 35, and that's going to be the max. Dark unit max HP up 13%, and then dark unit magic resist up 20. So personally, I'm a huge fan of the dark unit magic attack resistance up, because what essentially this is doing is many of the dark slashers in this game are going to be very susceptible to magic damage, and namely in this case it's going to be KOR Stern, because KOR Stern is one of the best units in the game in terms of just raw damage, and he essentially relies on a lot of evasion mechanics, and I think getting hit essentially guarantees he most likely dies. And I think the 20% reduction in terms of against magic, it's going to be much needed. And here's the thing, right? You can actually combine this with some of your other dark slash types or just dark attack cards. Obviously, we're talking about the Exorcist, which is also one of the best cards in the game for dark units. And I guess two-handers, because it has I guess it has defense penetration, right? So I think this card obviously is a little bit more of a niche card. It's more geared towards dark units in terms of party ability. So when stacked upright, your dark unit's going to see a humongous boost in terms of damage, resistance, and HP. And let's take a look at the max ability of the bestowed effect. And it's going to be obviously for dark. Agility up 8%. I think this is where it's going to put a lot of the darker units essentially in a really nice solid spot. Light attack resistance up by 10, so that's again you're targeting against light units, and it's going to be really good. An additional 10% in max HP. It's just a really good card, right? It's just a really card. It doesn't have any vision ability. So personally, I'm going to go for this card. Also, I'll be getting, it looks like, some medals, 10 medals per step, and of course you're guaranteed on the 10th step or 5th step. Personally, I hope I don't have to go too far, because I should have enough metal to straight up just buy the rest of the shards. Let's go ahead and get it going here. Well, before we do that, let's not skip animation. So I think this card, in a nutshell, is a super good card. I never reviewed Exorcist card because at that time it was before, I think it was before KOR's turn, and I didn't own him at the time. And I'm the type of player that don't really plan ahead a whole lot. I kind of respond. I'm more of a responder, where if something's happening on my account, I'll respond to it. And that's not always the best strategy, because essentially what you're doing is you are lagging behind. And personally, I'm okay with lagging behind because I'm not really in a rush. In terms of Guild Wars, right now I'm playing the role of the cleanup duty. I mentioned this before. I like to clean up. And why not, right? It makes the fight a lot easier, and you're just really trying to help the guild win. Sometimes you have to do things that best benefits the whole instead of just an individual. All right, Grace. Grace is definitely one of the better units in the entire game. And maybe I'll do another review on her later. Actually, you know what? I've never done a review on her. I think I should do a review on her. Alright, first step, nothing. So hopefully second step gets me something here. Here we go. This should do, right? No, it's a unit. So the only thing I'm looking for... Oh, whoa. 2. So the only thing I'm looking for is Garble. You know, because he is a dark unit that I hope to finish up my dark team. And plus, like I said, I just love his energy. Sorry, dad joke, pun intended there. But he's an energist, right? So he's kind of like one of those monk types where he's exuding energy out of his hands. That's how he does damage. Engelbert. Surprisingly enough, I still don't have enough shards to finish Engelbert up. Garble. Oh, Venera. So I think Venera is gonna essentially take a deep dive in terms of, you know, because I think she's getting her EX treatment, and then she's not really being well received over in JP, which essentially is a kind of a shame because I really loved her. I really loved her as a unit, but I don't think she's doing that well in terms of where I guess you could say the meta shift is today. The meta shift essentially is a lot of guaranteed hits, and you know, she can't handle those. So this one is going to be a dud. So it looks like we're going to 10 steps, which is fine because essentially right now I've already paid for the entire thing, right? Because I got 2 rainbows, which essentially you get 40 shards if you were to buy out those shards straight out. And then of course I get this, which essentially is, well, actually I will lose out a little bit more in here in the 3rd step. But the medals makes up for it, right? Because 10 medals essentially is 10 medals is essentially 1,000 gems if you think about it in those terms for, say, Bahamut, right? Oh wow, another unit. Wow, it's kind of weird that they keep giving me units. Path of Revenge. Little Leela, I think I'm gonna probably build a lot of lower rarity units just to have those units around, you know? Mostly probably because of the quests they're bringing us later on. And the chances are I'll probably be skipping them on the free-to-play account, because those quests are going to be pretty challenging. Here we go. Oh, Ayaka, alright. So apparently Ayaka is not getting a lot of love too in EX and JP for some reason. My understanding is she's actually quite solid when she gets her EX treatment. Like, for those of you that don't have Yuna, she's supposed to be the one that takes that top spot. It's pretty weird how the final piece, even though it's guaranteed, it gives you round. So we went up to 10,000, which is okay, you know, because getting the 50 medals is essentially, if you think about it, that's 50 shards of the Bahamut, right? So that's like 5,000. And then I got how many? I got 3 rainbow unit shards. So that's 6,000, and plus this, which would be 2,000 plus the 1,350 for the shards of this. So, and there it is. Let's go ahead and talk about it. I think first thing we need to do is we need to go to jump into Espers, because we need to take a look at the grid. I think the grid it's something we need to take a look at. I don't want to comment right now. So I'll go ahead and show you the source I'm using in terms of ranking the Esper, and of course the ranking of the vision cards. So let's go ahead, and it's probably dark. Yeah, it is dark. So before I look at the grid, let me go ahead and jump into UltimateJP. All right, here we go. Here we're on Ultimate.JP, which I readily go use because I really valued whoever's doing this website and their opinions. So as you can see, I'm looking at the strongest summon beast ranking by role. because this is important, right? Because it's important for a few reasons. One, when I build my teams, I generally go with roles. Like I have my tank, my healer, my slash, my pierce, whatever it is. And here you can see clearly that slash attack, Omega, it's ranked second right behind Odin. And Behemoth, of course, is third. So for me, I really like this model. And if you scroll down a little bit more here, you can see it even tells you exactly what kind of things you're looking for, right? In this case, you're looking for slash up, attack up, magic resistance up. And then you're looking for 15% at slash up, attack 20%. And it says top class status with 3-star awakening, which hopefully I will get that done maybe this week. You know, I'm going to be working on the raid pretty heavily, and I'll probably try to get this done in terms of resonance. And I think it's a great time to farm resonance, especially when you're trying to trigger all of those lovely raids, right? And I think it's a great opportunity to get this brand new Esper finished. Now let's go ahead and jump back into the Esper review. Here we are back at it. Now, unfortunately, obviously, it's going to take a little time for me to get it to 3-star, therefore I can review the whole board, but I'm just going to go ahead and lightly touch up on it. As you can see, you do have magic resistance against a very nice touch if you use it also with the vision card. You have your attack up here, and then of course you have your light eater and then your slash attack. Dragon Killer is going to be very niche. I think you're much better off serving that purpose if you use a different Esper just for that specific purpose of perhaps Dragon Killer. So obviously what we just witnessed was they recommend magic resistance slash and of course attack up there, right? And of course one of these are going to open up and it's probably going to give you more dark attack and probably evocation magic or something like that. Maybe I'll do another quick follow-up in a future video when I go ahead and finish my Esper in terms of a plus 3-star Esper. Okay, here we are. We are back at Steel Engine Annihilation Omega. And of course, let's take a look at where Ultimate.JP is ranking this lovely vision card. Here we are taking a look at the actual ranking. And as you can see, Omega is on the top tier alongside with some of the other cards that have been out recently, including the Titus vision card and of course Bahamut. Now personally, I think it makes perfect sense that this card is ranked really high because given what we talked about, right? And let's go ahead and jump back into in-game visuals. So as I mentioned before, unfortunately this card doesn't have any bonus effect in terms of a global buff, but it does give you all the stuff that we're looking for. Agility up, light resistance, HP up, you know, we're talking like slash attack up, and of course magic up. I think ultimately this card is the card to go to in terms of injecting it into your dark team. And it doesn't necessarily have to just be a dark slash team. You can use all the different availability in terms of the stats, even if you're just ignoring the dark slash. Obviously, one of the most popular mechanics of the dark team is the fact that they're all slashing units for the most part. Obviously, I don't have Garble, but Garble is of course a magical unit. But look at this. You have KOR Stern, you have regular Stern, you have Whisper, of course Shadowlings, Venera, Gafgarion. Gafgarion is the free unit for those of you who are newer to the game that first was given to us with the first part of Final Fantasy Tactics. Now, as I mentioned before in my last video, I think Final Fantasy Tactics Part 3 should be making its appearance fairly soon, and perhaps sooner than normal. Of course, you also have Little Lita, which is also can be a slashing unit. And bear in mind, even Kain has slashing skill sets, right? He has Blade Bash, which is very good if you want to combo and chain with your other dark teams. And of course, even Venera, or excuse me, even Ziza, when used as a thief, has slashing attacks. So you potentially can use all these different units in terms of just for slashing. And I think that's going to be an excellent idea. So what do I think of the card overall? Let's go ahead and give you my final assessment. So here are my final thoughts. I think the card itself is an excellent addition to the game. I think it adds to the very popular dark slashing combinations, which a lot of people like to use for a safety net in terms of both raids and perhaps even the Porcelain Tower. And obviously a lot of situations in the game also can be benefiting from a dark slashing team, such as your challenges and perhaps just your normal farm. And also the Esper is excellent, ranked as one of the top 3 potentially for your slashing teams in general. That means you can slap that bad boy on any of your units that can use some magical resistance, slash boost, and normal physical attack. We're talking about Orlando, we're talking about Cecil, we're talking about Titus. So I mean, the list just keeps going, and I think excellent investment in this game is always go with vision cards that have a Esper combination attached to it, because you're essentially getting 2 for 1. And I think always I'm looking for value, and I'm always looking for the best bang for my buck. Highly recommend it. I will give easily both 9.5 out of 10. Alright, I hope you enjoyed this type of video. I wish you best of luck. Hopefully you can just get on the first step for yourself. But if not, you can always get more medals, and I think that's always a great value for free gems. Until next time, take care of yourself, all your loved ones. Remember, time is your most valuable resource, and I want to thank you for spending yours with me, Nashtaters, and his family out of here. Take care.